All right, hey everyone, welcome to today's webinar, the BIM 360 to CADmep Connector webinar. And this webinar is brought to you by Applied Software, the premier software systems integrator in North America. And I am William Spear, I'm the Director of Fabrication for ASTI, and I'm delighted to be your moderator today. Throughout our presentation, feel free to type in questions or comments that you have using the chat pane, and we'll be answering those questions both during and at the end of the presentation. Please take a moment to introduce yourself in the chat panes as well if you would. We'd love to know who you are and where you're located, anything interesting you'd like to share with us. So we'll be reading those as we go. Do enter those in. And today's webinar is going to be hosted, I'm hosting today's webinar is going to be by Dave Ronson, who is our fabrication specialist, and Mike Reuter, who is our customer success advocate. Next slide. So today's webinar is being recorded. It'll be available to you online on our YouTube channel, and we'll also send an email out to everybody following the webinar with a link to that recording, so you can catch it there and share it with others or do whatever you need to revisit it again later if there's anything you want to see again. Next slide. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead and search Applied Software on Facebook and like our page there, and you'll receive updated information and special offers that way. And when you visit our actual website, asti.com, there's a complete schedule there of upcoming events, webinars, trainings, and more. Some of the upcoming webinars we have are Destiny Estimator Suite, and that is basically about how to transition from conceptual to detailed estimates. That'll be Thursday, October 20th. We have the Hilti button for Firestop. That's a BIM and Firestop, makes BIM and Firestop easier than ever. That's on October 26th. And then our next Fabrication Hangout will be spooling template setup, and that's a pretty sophisticated one, so that's a good one to watch, to join us for. That'll be Thursday, October 27th. Some of the upcoming events that we have will include NECA, and NECA is going to be in Boston, Massachusetts on October 8th to 10th, so any electricals out there, we'll look forward to seeing you there if you're going. On October 17th to 19th is the BIM Forum in Atlanta, Georgia. And then on October 18th, same weekend or same time, will be SMACNA in Phoenix, Arizona. And at the end of the webinar, a survey is going to pop up that you can complete to enter for a $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. And you do have to enter that survey to be entered into the drawing, but we will have that at the end of the webinar, so stay on for that. And again, at the end of the webinar, we'll also answer any questions that you have. So if we haven't gotten any questions as we're going, we're going to certainly circle back and answer those for you at the end. So stick around all the way to the end and get your Amazon gift card or get entered for that, and we'll answer any questions then. All right. At this point, I'm going to hand the presentation over to Dave Ronson and Michael Reuter, and so please join me in welcoming today's speakers. Dave, Mike, it's all yours.
Okay, thanks guys. This is Michael Reuter here. Today what I'm going to be really going over with you guys is how to connect CADmep to BIM 360 using our FAB to BIM 360 tool. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to identify the problem. So most of the construction data that we get is lost at the handover of each construction phase, and so a lot of times that causes double and triple entry of data and a lot of wasted time. Also, currently a lot of field teams don't trust the model because of the data loss. So there's a frustration between the field team and the BIM team. So what we want to do is we want to take these peaks and valleys and we want to make it a slow, steady incline of data in our model and for our construction site. And design programs like FAB, CAD, and MEP are great at creating constructible models and at collecting data, but they do need a little bit of help getting that data out of the model and into the field. So what we suggest is leveraging your fabrication data into the field. So using our our FAB to BIM 360 add-in in Fabrication CADmep, you can much more easily manage and leverage the data from all the way from design to coordination to construction and then finally to turnover. So the demo that I'm about to show you will give you an example of how you can do that. So I'll kind of quickly go over the workflow here. What we're going to do is we're going to start in CADmep and we're going to push the model up into BIM 360 Glue where we can coordinate and revise the model. Then once coordination is complete and we have a fully coordinated model, we will use our FAB to BIM 360 tool to essentially attach spool data or attach data to blocks so that we can push that data into BIM 360 Glue, okay? And then eventually into BIM 360 fields so that we can you know, track the status and all that data during construction. So while we're in construction, we can then attach submittals, shop drawings, O&M data, any COBE data, track statuses, etc. While we're in construction. And so then eventually, once it's time to turn the project over to the owner, we can very easily push everything into Autodesk Building Ops so that the owner can better operate and maintain his building. Okay, so essentially that is the workflow that we're going to go through today. So what we're going to do is we're going to start in FAB CADmep. And basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to design your system just like you normally would, leveraging your materials database along the way. And once you've got everything ready in there, essentially all you're going to want to do is just hit the BIM 360 tab and then glue your model to glue. It's pretty simple. All you do is you just select the project that you want to glue it to, and then you hit glue. So when you do that, the model opens up in glue, and what we're going to want to do now is actually create clash tests against the against the other trades. So when that pops up, you're going to see actually 8 clashes show up here. So for this exact instance, we're actually doing pretty good. We're almost at the end of the coordination process. So what you see right now in this clash number 8 is that as I pan up, basically there is there's a pretty major clash between the duct and the hot water and cold water. So once you once you zoom out, you actually see that both the hot water and the cold water are going right through this duct. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a markup of this, and so I'll circle it, and then I'll even put a little comment on there, and I'll say hot water, cold water versus duct. Okay, put an arrow to it. And I will save it. Okay, so next I'm going to give a comment based on maybe a suggestion or just a comment on what we're going to do here. So I'm just going to say, okay, and so then I'm also going to finally notify members of the team of the issue. You could do that 2 ways. You could either notify yourself, so that, or you could notify another team member so that they could do it. So when I actually do this, it's pretty cool. Like you're going to see here in a second that a little email notification is going to pop up. But so 2 things happen when you send the notification. One, you get the email, and then there's a link inside of the email that when you click on it, it brings you right to this location in the model so you can see what's going on. And that's pretty cool. But the best thing about it is that it also sends information to Clash Pinpoint. Okay, so all you have to do is, if you're coordinating your model with glue, you run your clash test, you send a notification out about those clashes, and then you hit the pinpoint button right here, and then this little result set comes up. So we were just working in the hot water, cold water versus ductwork. Actually, we were just working in this one because it just ran. And so we can go to view there, and so what you can see is basically all of the information that we just did. Okay, so we said need to raise the hot water, cold water to mist duct. If I select this, then it would take me directly to that spot in the model. Okay, so glue helps you quickly coordinate things, and you can even bring back the clashes back into your model. So once we're done with coordination, now it's time to start creating like our spool drawings and setting up the model for submittal. So that's all that I'm going to do right now. So I'll just hit this spool button right here. We're going to name this hot water spool number 1, and then I'm going to select all the items that are part of that spool. Right now I'm just doing that for an example so that you can see how see the process. Yes, okay. So then once we do that, of course, as you guys know, it automatically creates the shop drawing essentially for that spool. You could annotate this however you needed to, and then what's great is that it automatically gives you a schedule and all the information that's involved with it. So we will actually use that later, and we'll attach that to our stuff in BIM 360 Field. But so you guys are already doing that right now. So here's where the workflow kind of changes. So once we've got all of our spools done, we actually go to our add-ins and we hit the Prep for BIM 360 tool, okay? And so once we do that, we just hit Group. And so when it groups, we just do that, and then it's automatically going to group all of our data together. Okay, so it's done right there. So what you'll see is before all of these items, I didn't spool this stuff up above, but each item before was one piece. It was all, but what the spool tool did was it actually combined this whole spool into one object. So when I click on it, what you see are all these attributes are now added to this file. So you can see the name of it, the status that it's at, what it services, the weight, material, all of this data. We can customize this data, so, if there's other key performance indicators or key indicators or whatever that you guys use, we can add attributes in here. But right now, these are the only ones that we're tracking for this project. So anyway, again, all that you would do once you've got all your spools set and you've got it, you've prepped your file for BIM 360, then you just go back and you glue it again. So then when you go to glue, what you're going to see is let's see, we'll just click on this one right here. Bear with me, my it's going a little bit slow because we're webcasting. So okay, great. So basically, once you select that item, we can actually go to that attributes menu in Glue, and you can see that all that data is now here. So I can create equipment types based on any of this information. I can bring any of this information from Glue into Field however I want. So basically all that I would do is I would right click and choose to create an equipment set called spool, and then I would share it with Field. Okay, so now that we've got that done, we'll actually go to field. Okay, so the next process of this is I'm going to show you how to actually map your model from glue into field. Okay, so you just go into the project admin of field, and then you hit the equipment module, and you can either add a model from glue, or I've already got it done, so I'm just going to select manage equipment mapping, and you can see we've got our spools in there, so I'll show you how I mapped it. What you can do, the first thing that prompts you to do is it asks you to select the equipment type. You can set this up beforehand, so any piece of equipment that you want to track, we can track, and any piece of equipment that you want to attach data to, we can do that with the FAB BIM 360 tool. So right now, for this example, we're just doing plumbing spools, so I'm going to just hit next there. Next, I'm going to choose to map it in advanced mode, and the reason that I want to do that is because I want to choose a number of attributes that I want to bring over from my FAB model into field, and so you can actually see that here. So again, our attributes menu shows up here. So I want all of this data that I've got selected to go from my FAB model into glue and into field. Okay, so all of this data that we've already collected, it's coming seamlessly into field, and it's connected to our model. Okay, so whenever anything changes in our FAB model, we can, it'll also occur in field. Okay, so we've got all that stuff. We've got the FAB type, the service length, the name. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to select the items that we want field to push back into our model. Okay, so I've just given a bunch of examples here. We've got the issues, we've got the building location, the install date, barcode, name, the status, all this stuff. Okay, so then once you're done with that, you just hit save mapping. And so then essentially what would happen is all of those items that are in your model would essentially become searchable and editable in field. So I'll show you what that kind of looks like. Okay, so I'll just click on the equipment module again, and then we'll go down to, I think we were working on spool 14. So I'll just give you this as an example. So we'll just double click on hot water spool 14. And so you can see all this data is already in there. So, let's say that we had maybe the status of this change, so we can actually change it right here. Or maybe we got a little bit of Kobe data information, and the file was actually, or the spool was actually installed today, so we would actually want to mark the status as installed. Okay, well, we could do that. And so when we actually do that, you can see that the process is pretty seamless. So I'll show you right here. Again, bear with me. Okay, so you can see that it changed. That stuff already updated here. So we've got the install date, and we've got that the status changed to installed. So that took literally 5 seconds, and then the database in field notified glue that everything changed. Okay, so let's review now. Okay, so a couple things to remember about FAB BIM 360. So we created it to simplify the equipment tracking process for construction, specifically for fabrication models. Okay, and what it does is it sends data to BIM 360 field and glue that otherwise would have been lost and or re-entered during the process. We created it, Applied Software created it, and again, our goal is to have a total workflow from design to fabrication to construction and handover. Okay, so okay, so let's take a look at this also how this could help you in the field. I'm just going to pull up my iPad here. Okay, so one thing that we were talking about was basically we added barcodes to all of these items. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do right here is, well, I'll show you. I'll just take a picture first. So essentially, let's just imagine that we just installed this run-a-pipe right here. Okay, so then when I look closer right here, I actually see that there's a barcode right there. And so, right here, you see there's the barcode when I look up at it when I'm in the field. Okay, so I actually want to scan that barcode. So I just hit the barcode scan button in BIM 360 field, and then bam, it takes me right to that piece of equipment. Okay, so no longer is your team fumbling around trying to search for information or trying to figure out if this is is this piece the piece that I need to install right here, or is it that piece that's 30 feet away. You snap a barcode on it before you come out into the field, and then you scan it, and okay? So all of this information is at our fingertips. So again, just like before, we can change the status to installed. We can fill out any checklists that are associated with this piece of equipment. So if we have any testing equipment or something that we have to check off before we install it, we can fill all that out. You can see any issues that are associated with it, and then you can see attachments. So what you can see is basically I've taken a picture of this spool actually installed in the field, and then you can also see right here that we've got the spool shop drawing, okay, and it has all the data that's with it, okay. So so basically you've got all of this data that's in the hands of your team. But also, if you click on this little button up here, you hit show and model, and then you can see right here, this is the spool that we're looking at. So I can look around it, I can compare what I'm looking at in the field. So if I just hit this immersive view button, then I can just basically look up. Ooh, I'm making it angry. But basically you can view it and compare it and contrast it. Okay, so let's see, let's move our iPad off the screen. Okay, so once we've gotten our once we've completed construction, we've commissioned everything, all that stuff, it's really quite simple to export all of our information, all of our asset or our equipment information to a facility management software. We suggest using Building Ops because it just very easily, seamlessly sends it straight to it. All you do is you just click the Export to Building Ops button and it pushes it there. But if your if your owner uses something else, then you can just as easily export everything as a CSV to Excel. Okay, so if you were to push it to Ops, basically what you would see is you could view all of this data. The owner could, I guess, they could view all the tickets, any context that they need to have, any inspections that have been made or need to be made, and then they could also view the assets. Okay, so I believe we were looking at was it I think it was number 13. Let me review it again on my iPad, make sure. Yeah, so it's spool number 13. So we can go down here to spool number 13, and you can actually see all the data, all this data is pushed over. Like the spool data has, I haven't hit it again so the photo didn't come over, but also if there was any manufacturer model data, serial number data, that would basically be in there. I'll show you that too. We didn't really look at these, but for VAVs, you can kind of see that all that data came over seamlessly too, okay, as well as O&M manuals and shop drawings. and you can also view it in the model. But basically, that's the whole workflow. So let's do one final review here. All right, so we took our model from FAB into glue and then coordinated it. And then we, once coordination was complete, we used the FAB to BIM 360 tool to attach information to CAD blocks so that we could then push that data into the field and then eventually push it over to the owner so that they could maintain the building. So this process can help with percent complete projections, cost and billing. It'll save time during closeout and owner turnover because you're not going to be having to re-enter data. It's going to build confidence in the model among your team, and then data pushed from FAB and glue models can be tracked and reported against during construction. So how does it help the field team? Data flows seamlessly from one software to another, so there's no worry that they're not going to have what they need. All of your tools are at your disposal. All of the job site information is at your fingertips, whether it's on your iPad or on your computer. And you can customize the data in your models to benefit your field team the most. And then also you can visualize it in 3D and compare the model to the real world in real time. So that was my presentation. Are there any questions out there?
I was actually answering some questions as we go here. There's a couple of good ones. First question that's just coming in now is, does the data flow two ways or back to the AutoCAD model? So is it bidirectional? I think so.
Well, right now, data can flow directly from Revit to glue to field and then back to Revit. We have that's something that we would be interested in actually doing with AutoCAD as well. That has not happened yet, but that is something that we are interested in doing.
One of the other folks on the call.
Sorry, and I'll kind of expand on that. So that's something that we would want essentially, for down the road, that is something that we would want our FAB to BIM 360 tool to accomplish. Okay, next question, William.
Adam Gorlewski was asking, or basically said it was just, I think he's already using it, sounds like, but it was a great tool and there's a lot of things they like. Being able to break out spools all at once saved them a lot of time. They used to have to create blocks by hand, which takes a long time for hundreds of spools. And being able to track those spools in the field is great too. One thing he said it'd be nice for it to do, and maybe it already does this, I don't know, you can tell me, is can you track total lineal footage of pipe for each spool?
Yeah, so right now it does length, does 42.8 feet approximate value. And if you have the cost data in there too, then it'll do that. So it right now it already pulls out the weight and the length, the material of it, and based on the material, I guess the cost information that you have on the material, it'll do the cost as well. And if there were other items, again, we could add different attributes in here so that we were tracking what you wanted to track. And if you didn't want to just track spools, maybe you wanted to track duct systems or VAVs or whatever. We could put all that information in here too, and it would we could customize it and help you. It would help you like that.
That 42.8 feet is per spool, so that is the spool name, HW spool, whatever that is above there, right?
Yeah, HW spool 01, yeah, that's per spool.
Okay. Perfect, so that's already in there. I just sent it off to Jason thinking maybe that's something he can add, and I'll have to tell him, forget it, it's already in there.
Yep.
Next question is, does the creation of the spools wreck the clash reports? In other words, does the item do the same IDs? items ID change.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I suggest using I suggest using the spool tool after you've completed coordination on that floor or section of the building or whatever. There's some instances where maybe that's not possible, but to me it's best practice to do that, because if you're breaking it up and then if you're exploding the which, by the way, there's a second one you can on spools, that's the other button, but if you're breaking it and then reattaching it, then there's been some instances where it's possible that the GUID might change, but still, I would suggest doing it. I would suggest using the spool tool after coordination was complete for that part of the building.
By the way, as we're answering these too, if you've asked a question and we answered it and it wasn't exactly what you were looking for, you have something else, feel free to keep writing in and going back and forth with us. We're happy to make sure we get to the bottom of it for you. So there's no other questions that have come in yet. Is the ungrouping of spools a global effect? If you ungroup them, does it affect all of them?
No, you can select which one you want to ungroup. You can select all of them, or you can just deselect one. So
you can do discrete selections then for that?
Yes.
Good question. Thumbs up. There you go.
All right.
It's nice when we find out we thought of everything, But, as you guys use this, of course, there's going to be things you're going to find that it doesn't do or could do better or what have you. So, always send us feedback. In fact, while we're on that topic, Mike, what's the best way for them to send feedback on something like, hey, I would love it if it did this or that?
Well, I mean, the best way would be you contact me or David or any one of our, FAB specialist guys, and you say, hey, this is what I'm trying to track. This is why. Can you help me put that in? And I mean, we've got like Ron Geyer is is the guy that developed this add-in. I told him that I wanted to also track duct systems using this, and so the next day he put it in. So it was a really quick turnaround. So we also, whenever there's a new service pack, he's diligently working to have this up. So, there would be, we get stuff in and out really quickly.
Perfect. All right. I had another question from Greg Mosher asking how secure is our costing data. Do you need more information, what he's asking specifically, or do you know what he means?
I'm assuming that he's asking like if the cost data can be seen by the GC or something like that. That's a great question. That's something that that might be something that you would not want to have. Maybe you would not want to push that into field. So I cannot. I don't think that there is a way to. I guess actively, push that, like hide that information in field, unless you're just not bringing it over.
Can you choose to not bring that over, deselect it before you bring it to field?
I'm sure that you can. Right now, all that I've got is we can customize, this attributes list so that just what you want shows up. So I would think so, yes.
All right. Yeah, this one give Ron, so it's right there on the UI.
Yeah, that would be pretty nice.
Good. And this is exactly the kind of stuff we want to hear too. When you come up with ideas like that, if you're asking, that means hundreds of others probably want it as well. So ask away, and we'll see what we can do to get it in there. So no other questions yet. Anybody else have anything else that you wanted to share? Oh, Scott LeMay added, yeah, it would be nice to be able to suppress attributes before pushing a glue. So that's perfect. All right, we'll see. while I've got all of you on the phone, what attributes, can you think of anything else, other attributes that you want to hide, or just to be able to, you want that on-off ability, to suppress ability on everything? They're all busy typing away. Can you hear all the key clicks?
Yeah, well, I can see it's blinking.
Was this beneficial for everybody? I mean, I helped everyone out? Yeah, I understand when you're saying just certain ones, but in other words, what I mean is I don't mean a button that will turn them all on or off globally. What I meant is that every field would have that ability to be turned on or off, or just costing. So I'm assuming, sounds like just costing would be the
yeah, I could see where that would be. That would probably hurt. Like, yeah, that would be bad.
Or just be able to write in whatever costing number you want and send that to them.
That might be the solution. Yeah, you put it at what you the cost of what you put the contract in for, or whatever.
I think we should have the ability to suppress any data we don't want to be seen. So okay, at the end of the day, if Ron can just make it so that every field has that ability, that gives them control over whatever they want. And if we add more moving forward, they all have it as well.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you like the GC field? You can turn that off, all that good stuff. All right. Anyone else? I'll give a few more seconds here to see if anybody else has any last questions. Hopefully that was beneficial for everyone. I certainly appreciated your time, guys. So what the cost of this tool is?
I do not know I don't know that. We can get offline with you about that.
Is this what they call BIM Connect? Is another name for this, or is that different?
No, it's FAB to BIM 360. BIM Connect is basically something that it connects Revit and Excel, and so you can basically add. It's kind of similar. It's like you can add attributes into your Revit models. So that you can track stuff, you can add data in and out easier. So if we were going back before, if we wanted, let's see, all of this field data to come back into a Revit model, then that's what that would you could export this as a CSV or to Excel, and then import that in with our BIM Connect tool, and then it would automatically do it.
Okay, push data from Revit.
Yeah, this is similar to that, but this is for FAB.
All right, and one other question came in. Was there any plans for docs? And that's a little broad, but maybe you know what he means.
Okay, yeah. So I'm thinking his question is it going to connect to docs? And the answer is as soon as the API comes available, we will try to push that to docs. Right now, the only API, at least that I was aware of, that docs has is with adding members and giving and permissions and stuff like that. So there's not really a way to connect to add data in, like models, or so you can't seamlessly push a model to docs yet, with an API call. You can do that by pushing it up there manually, but you can't do it with an API call yet. So as soon as they've got all that available, that's something that we'll definitely be looking at implementing.
Cool. All right. Well, here in Central Time Zone, it's 12:11, so we're ending here pretty soon, or pretty early. So I'll give the rest of you your day back. But I don't see any other questions coming in. So unless I see one pop up here as I cover the end of this, we'll call it. And at the end, in a moment, our webinar survey is going to pop up. So make sure you complete the survey, and you'll be entered into a drawing for a $25 Amazon gift card. And you do have to complete that survey to be entered in the drawing, and it just takes a few seconds to complete. So it shouldn't be much of your time. And with that, I would like to say thank you, Michael and David, for joining us and putting this webinar on, and thanks to all of you for joining us today. And we hope it was informative and helps your business out, and we look forward to seeing you on our next webinar. All right, thanks everyone for joining us. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good week.
Thanks, guys.